The last birth. It's been a strange thing here on the planet. Honestly has been. It's been over... shit. It's been over... has it been now? 40 years since a human was last born. Doctors didn't know how it happened or what caused it. All we know is that somehow either men stopped producing sperm or women just stopped being fertile or something to that effect. I don't know. Maybe heaven ran out of souls. Who knows? Only God knows for that matter. But not all hope was lost, you see. After 40 or 50 years of this, a woman finally got pregnant. After 50 years without anyone becoming pregnant, after 50 years of nothing but cloning and cybernetic stuff, their use being delayed, just the ever so present fate of all humans, a woman finally got pregnant. And the whole world watched with glee and anticipation for those 9 months that woman was pregnant. And when it came time for her to go into labor, the whole world tuned in. The birth was broadcasted over TV. Entire families sat down to watch it, in awe at the miracle that we're probably not all dead yet. The fact and the hope that we may live on. Everything went through normally. The labor and birth went through without a flaw. This went absolutely perfectly, not a flaw. But then the doctor held the baby in his arms. For 15 minutes, the baby didn't move, didn't make a sound. And when it fell silent, when it didn't make a sound, the world died with it. Sadly, the world died with the hopes of that one child perishing, becoming a stillborn. Life in Utopia. About a mile outside of, I want to say, where was the city? I can't remember how far it was. I think it was about maybe 30 miles, 40 miles away from this small little coastal town. You know, it's very, very nice, very, very amazing. And it's just perfect in every aspect. I mean, people aren't really religious here, so there's not a whole lot of crazy shit going on, not really a whole lot of really radical shit, and people politically are pretty neutral, so it's almost perfect. In the police, there are the occasional crimes here or there, but there's really no crime anymore. The police are pretty much at ease. It's a lazy, easygoing job. When we moved here, it was the best thing we ever had, and it was just amazing how the community just welcomed us in. I could not imagine even fitting in just like this, so snugly with my family, anywhere else. Both my wife and my daughter loved it, and I loved myself. We all got jobs and everything was normal until things in the town started to go, and, well, odd. That's one way I can really explain it. People started doing things they had a conscience of what they were doing, but at the same time they had no idea what or why they were doing or why they were even doing it. It was weird. I mean, there'd be an older couple flirting with a younger man or a younger woman. There'd be people just doing just really, really random, crazy shit that I really can't explain. People that, you know, shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff at their age. They were doing it, and it really shocked me. But we didn't really mind too much. We were always thinking it's a small town. You know, people have their own strange little rituals and shit out here, and we just never really thought anything of it. Until things started to happen with my wife as well. What happened with my wife was she stopped talking to me. She even isolated herself, basically, and pardon me. I've been sick lately. I've been really, really tired. But anyway, she had a tendency nowadays to lock herself in her room, away from everyone else, until it was time to go to sleep or time to eat. She would lock herself away in her room and do nothing but paint all day long. She couldn't speak to anyone, not even her children, not even me. Wouldn't speak to any of us. And I had no idea why. I thought I did something wrong. I tried to talk to her and tried to get things settled out, but we never could figure out anything. We didn't know what was wrong. Until she finally started talking to me, and it's like a normal conversation. Like nothing had even happened. That night, I went to bed with her a bit shaken and honestly a bit depressed, because I didn't know what was going on or what was happening. But then, when I woke up the next morning, I had no control over my actions. I had no control at all. I knew what I was doing. I could see what I was doing, but I had no control over what I was doing. Nothing I wanted to do was what I wanted to do. I sat there for almost I can't remember, was it 5, I felt like 6 hours, probably around 4 hours. I just sat there on the treadmill and ran constantly all day long. I was starving, I was tired. That's why I'm coughing and wore out now. Because I don't know what the hell happened. When I finally stopped, I breathed a sigh of relief and just looked around, awestruck and confusion and pure horror, not really knowing what to think of it. The weirdest and craziest thing about the entire thing was that big, bright, fucking green diamond that hovered above my head the entire time. I don't want anything like that to happen again. Intergalactic. About, give or take, I want to say about 50 years ago now, planet Earth actually had received a message from a planet, or a star, Gliese 581cb, and it was an intelligent message beyond anything we'd ever met before. More than just star sound, more than just anything like that. It was just amazing. But when the message came, not only was it an invite to come and see the planet, to come and see and visit us, they also sent plans for a ship and technology that would get a crew there alive and able. And things like cryo chambers, light speed travel, amazing, beautiful things that we could only dream about coming up with in our time. And they conquered it, and they knew how to do it, and they sent us these plans. We were ecstatic. My crew and I, we were chosen, handpicked actually, by people from around the, leaders from around the world, and we were all gathered in the ship, and when it lifted off, we were put into cryo chambers and sent off into space. Strangely though, we were only sitting without maybe like a 2-month supply of food. I mean, considering we were in the cryo chambers, it didn't really bug us too much, but I don't know. Halfway along the way, no, I'm guessing it was halfway along the way, I had woke up from my stasis. Well, stasis being elongated sleep in the cryo chamber. I woke up to see that the captain of the ship, what was his name? Captain Harkins, yeah, Captain Harkins, was standing over his pod looking at the others. The other pods had gone dark. All three of them. He said that parts of the ship had sustained some damage from something or other, and life support was dropped for the pods. I sat there looking at the pods, seeing how and thinking about how those three men had suffocated. If they were lucky enough to, well, unlucky enough to wake up, they starved to death probably, or suffocated before that. Who knows? What the hell happened to him? Who's to know or say? But then, when I finally came to enough to get up and walk around the ship, I went to the computer systems to check on really what had happened when the cryo chambers and the life support forum went haywire, and I was astonished at what I was reading. It was exactly as Harkins said. It was 3 cryopods that lost their power, 3 ones that were filled. But when I read down the list, that's when it hit me. I mean, sure, it was all normal. There was Private Daniel, there's a guy next to me, myself. Guy next to me, well, not next to me, the other side of me, was Engineer Jordan, and so on and so forth. But one of the pods was, it appeared that one of the pods actually was Captain Harkins, leaving me to wonder, who the hell or what the hell is on this ship with me? And why am I the only one alive? Eternal gift. Many people have always wondered and wanted the fact of living forever. It's something we all wish to achieve, that knowledge that you can never die. We all long and wish for that. Well, most of us do anyway. In a way or so. Think about it. The beauty to live forever. Doesn't that sound amazing to you? Doesn't that sound like something you want? Something that sounds like a blessing to the highest degree. Well, it was, for me at least. It was better than I could ever have hoped for or imagined, beyond any compare, and it all happened because of a really, really stupid fate and twist. I was on a battlefield. Somewhere, I want to say, in the Middle East at the time. The way I was studying in history books, it was probably about 200 or 400 BC, something to that nature. I was fighting for some warlord, because I thought he was the greatest thing ever. And I went to battle for him. I was prepared to die for him. And ever since battling, that very same day, I was laying there on the battlefield, surrounded by the fallen dead bodies and corpses of both my enemies and my friends, with my enemy's sword still buried inside my stomach. At that point in time, I just looked up to the sky, praying, pleading with the gods to let me survive this, let me live through this, to let me survive. And I did, but when they gave me that gift, they gave me something far, far, far greater. And I have no idea why I was blessed with such a beautiful gift. They gave... It's really hard to explain, really. I can't die. I can't die. No matter what you do to me, I can't die. It's an amazing thing, really. I've stayed on this earth for what feels like thousands of years. I've seen nations fall, rise, and crumble. I've seen the bloodiest wars in history take fold. I've met and followed many rulers, even been a few myself, and I even got to follow Jesus for a time. Studied at universities. But throughout time I had to keep changing my name and alias and all that, which wasn't a really big deal. I mean, how hard is it to come up with a story if you've lived for 1,000 years or more? You'd be amazed at stories you can come up with when you've lived for a few thousand years. But as I sit here in this dark room, chained up to a wall, and I hear somebody come down the stairs into this dungeon of a basement, and he looks at me with just an evil, pure evil, hatred-filled grin. As he pours gasoline all over my face, I can't help but wonder and beg the gods that they please take this gift away and please let me die. As I look up at him, and he strikes a match. The look in his eyes showing the rush of ecstasy and pleasure he gets out of torturing a poor man who he cannot die. Please, please, just let me die. I've lived long enough. Please, just let my suffering end. Hey guys, Tiviyl here. Thank you all so much for sticking around for the entirety of this video. This was a small mashup of short creepypastas I had found through other YouTubers. One guy in particular I found most of these from was a guy called Mr. Creepypasta. Awesome guy. You guys can go check him out, go subscribe to him. He does really good shit, because he reads these all super professionally, and I highly recommend anyone who wants to get the shit scared out of him, I highly recommend they go and visit him and see all the shit he pulled off. Now, the guy whose music I'm using in this, I can't read his name, so I'm just going to spell it out. It's Myuuji. If you know how to pronounce that, you can probably get it. So, thank you to you. So, yay. Pardon me. And we're going to be doing more pastas like this in the future. More creepy stuff of that nature. But this kind of video stuff, we cannot do without your support. So, if you have a creepypasta you guys want us to read, well, not really us, but you want me to read, or you want me to read something, give me a, or let me have a bit of a, I don't know how to say this, a review on it, go ahead and comment it down below. I'll read it, or listen to it, more likely listen to it if I can, and I will give you a full review of what I think of it. And if it's really good, and I like it enough, I will just do a let's read of it. But anyway guys, this has been Tiviyl Scratch from TMF Productions. Wishing you all a good night and pleasant dreams. Don't let the bugs bite. Please. Oh. And while you're in your nightmares, try to avoid making them too real in your head. Good night. Sleep tight. Pleasant dreams from Tiviyl Scratch and TMF Productions. I will see you all in the next video with more scary content. Bye bye.